Hello, everyone, and good evening, and welcome to Animal Advocates Radio Voices Carry for Animals, number 522 shows this evening and counting. And we are going live from Podbean Podcast app live stream. And I want to welcome all the new listeners aboard, returning listeners out there on the Podbean Podcast web. Welcome aboard and thank you for tuning in this evening. And I hope that you really enjoy the show and keep coming back and returning. And if you would like to join us here in the chat room, you're more than welcome to. There's just a few steps that you do have to take to get in, and just go to and then they're simple. Just go to either Google Play Store or the Apple Store, and if you got that already downloaded, and then what you're going to do is install Podbean Podcast app and player. And once you get that installed on your phone or your laptop, your tablet, your iPad, then all you got to do is go to follow or search Voices Carry for Animals podcast. Press follow and you're in on the app. And there's a live studio chat room in here. You really love it. You can share the show right from the chat room. You can press like. You can interact with other listeners in this room. And it is awesome. And I want to welcome, and if you have any questions, and I can walk you through it after the show, or message me on Facebook, Messenger, or I'm also on LinkedIn and also on X. But I'm just going to go over a couple things here before we do get started. My name is Debbie Dahmer, aka Mama Bear. And Mama Bear is on the air because she really does care. So, and I appreciate all of you tuning in this evening. And I hope a lot of you do come into this live chat room. Keep spreading the word. You can make comments in this chat room. You can share it to other social media. This is what modern technology is all about. But anyway, if you're on the app, you can also listen to all the download episodes. So they're on there right from your phone, your laptop, your iPad, tablet. Listen and share 24/7. Make the comments. If you're on the web listening in, pull up, or you can listen to the show. Pull up another tab. Go on your social media sites. Go shopping or whatever, and that way you can be listening to us and you can share it. Because the more teamwork out there, the better for the animals. And I just wanted to bring up, last night I did a special tribute show to Marty Oakley, TS Radio Network. And this is where Voices Carry for Animals podcast originated from, back in June of 2014. And then I was on there for 163 shows being the host. And then in March of 2018, Marty Oakley, she helped me get Animal Advocates Radio together, Voices Carry for Animals, and set it up and everything. All I had to do is go and do the promos and get it ready, and she would host it, and she was so awesome. And may she rest in peace. And this show from last night is archived, so you can go and listen and share 24/7. It was a great show. All the great hosts. I mean, the guests and everything, and it was just amazing. There was her shows are still running on the TS Radio Network with Cause Witten and Marcia Joyner and Marcel Reed, and they were all guests last night. And Lawrence Lucas, he used to co-host with her back in 2014, 2015, and he was also on the podcast. We had a former uh, host for Wild Horse and Burro Radio on TS Radio Network, Debbie Copy. She showed up. It was just all of us was all under the one platform together, reunited, and it was awesome. So please, if you would like to, it was a 2 hour show, and the airways were rocking for Marty Oakley because she is the grassroots. She stood up to so many hot topics from every angle, and She was relentless and a true warrior. She was a great. We got to be good friends and a team player. I mean, I'll never forget her as long as I live. But I want to welcome all you into the chat room. Hey, Phaedra, how are you? For coming in, and thank you all for sharing, promoting my podcast out there on X and Facebook and LinkedIn. I appreciate all of you. And Deborah Ebright, welcome to Voices Carry for Animals. So this is wonderful, everyone. And I'm going to be bringing in my guest. I want to welcome her back. And I had Adam Skudowski scheduled for this evening, but sad news, his furry loved one, furry son passed away. And I understand that because I know I've been through it and it's tough. I mean, it's not easy at all. So I rescheduled him from Bear Defenders and one protest for April the 23rd. So I hope all of you join us with him. And we're going to continue on. And the latest bad news is sad, is that a Podbean podcast app is removing their live stream with their studio live chat with call-ins. So my last day on Podbean, sadly, will be May 14th, and they'll shut down all the live stream June 18th. So my website will go down after that. So the good news is I've found another podcast. I'm thinking about this Riverside.fm, which it does have live stream and call-ins and the studio live chat. So that will be great. So it's uplifting, and I'm looking forward to it. And I'll miss Podbean. It's a great podcast to have. So, but anyway, what I want to do here is I'm going to introduce her, Katrina Shadix, and she is executive director for Bear Warriors, or I'm sorry, Bear Warriors United. There we go. And she is awesome. She's working hard out there. And I mean, she's just amazing what she's doing. But anyway, our topics is going to be Stop the Starve for Manatees down here in Florida. And she's going to be giving update on black bear hunts in Florida, the two lawsuits, okay? So we're going to be discussing that and how you can help out, because in order to see change, we got to take action, okay? So these black bears and the manatees, we'll be discussing it, how you can get involved, make the phone calls, sign the petitions, because we got to win for them, not lose. Okay, so we got to take that action and spread the word, because August 14th, the Bear Warriors United versus FWC and slash Safari Club trial to stop the bear trophy hunt for 2026. Let's get it stopped. But anyway, Katrina, if you could uh, touch or press the phone icon or the mic icon. There we go. There we go. Hold on. Okay. Yeah. Can you run that? Let me see what happened here. Can you do that again? This thing flies by so fast. This invite. If you can hear me, send that invite again so I can get you in. The lower right hand corner, the phone icon or mic icon. And we got, you can hear me? Okay, press that phone at the bottom of your screen on the right hand side. It's a phone icon or a mic icon. Just press that and alert me that you want to come on air. Okay, and I'll be here. We go. Okay.
Oh, great.
Okay, there you are. I got you on live,
Woo!
Katrina. And I can't.
Exciting.
This is great. I can't thank you enough for coming and on. And when Adam had to, we both understand he lost his furry
Yeah.
son, and it's tough. But thank you for filling in for him, and
Oh, no
coming on
problem.
because this is wonderful, and
It is, yeah, and it's already off to a great start because last time I was on your show, it took me about 5 minutes to figure out how to call
okay,
in. And this time
okay.
we did it in about 10 seconds. So
That's,
that's good.
you're getting experience. You're getting to be a pro,
Yes, for
and
sure.
and that's
And
great, because this is and the next new podcast I'm going to get, and everybody I'm going to rename it Animal Warrior Radio, okay, and
love
keep
it.
the Voices
Wonderful.
Carry for Animals podcast. So I'm
Nice.
checking that out. And hey, Fax Porcupine Podcast is in the house. Hey, Reggie, how are you? So glad to see you. And he's a host. He's a podcast, on Podbean
Mhm.
podcast. Host brother.
Oh,
he
nice.
comes in my shows. I come in his sometimes, and we're I know we're going to miss this Podbean podcast app, but what
Yeah.
can we do? I don't want to go for the group recordings, which is the host, the guest, and then it'll get pre-recorded and then published. I love this chat room.
Yes.
I do, and the call-ins, and I couldn't change that. So. But anyway,
Okay.
Mama Cat's in the house, and hey, check this out. And I see Darla was in here. This is wonderful. Yeah, and my mother's in here. I love her support. Pat Dahmer, aka Moose. She don't look like a moose, but I call her for another name for mom. But
Good.
she's tuning in. She loves the show, and I love. She gives me her support, So
Yes. Very
yep,
good. Family
yep.
affair.
That's
And
it.
you mentioned Adam and that he lost one of his dogs, and we know
Yes.
with Adam being a true warrior for animals, it's especially hard for him. And I'm happy to fill in. And I do want to give a shout out to Adam because he recently he has a full time job, and I contacted him like, hey, can you make me a graphic for our, upcoming lawsuits and what we're working on? And he made this absolutely gorgeous graphic, and he's such a professional. I told you the other day when Adam and I were first starting out stopping the bear hunt, we had our tents next to each other at an Earth Day event in Orlando. And I had made a poster by hand, and I was so proud of it because I thought it was just so pretty. And I showed it to Adam because, I wanted to show Adam. He makes the master posters in all of our events. And I'm like, hey, Adam, take a look at the poster I made. And he looked at it, he shook his head in disgust. He's like, that's horrible. You used three different fonts. And it was like a cardinal sin that I had used three different fonts on one poster. And I'll
Mhm.
never forget that because it was the professional graphic artist in him saying, you use three different fonts. That's horrible. So I always know if we want something done and done right, we go to Adam for our graphics. I don't try to do my kindergartner art anymore with my stuff.
And you should see mine. So I mentioned that. So, but we got plenty of time, because
Yes.
my last show was the 14th of May, and I'm not getting started up right away, So
Yeah.
in like 3 weeks, I'll start setting it up. But it's going to take
Good.
time, It's going to
Right.
schedule and to get new graphics because the name's changing now, and it's
Yeah.
it's it's never easy, okay? It's never a walk in the park, but at least I'm going to be familiar with it from Podbean,
Right.
so
Right.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So what Adam did when he made this graphic, the wording says we can't hire attorneys, or it says they can't hire attorneys, but we can. And they can't hire attorneys. A beautiful picture of a bear and a manatee next to each other.
I
And
seen it. Yes,
yeah, isn't it nice?
beautiful. Yes,
Yeah.
yes. I'm gonna, and in fact, after the show gets downloaded,
Yeah.
or I edit it and then publish it, that's when all your links is going to go in there. So I'm going to have
Okay.
all of them in there. The photos that you sent me, because right now I can't send the photos on, like my website, until
Right.
I get it done, and then I get the episodes, and I'll have
Right.
everything in it, and I'm gonna put them on there. And all the ones you
Good.
sent me. This is great. Yes, and
Wonderful.
then
Okay.
and they can listen and share 24/7. To
Right. Right.
these. Yeah, and it gets published after this. It gets downloaded and everything to 28 other podcast websites plus 2 YouTube channels. So it is getting out there, making voices heard worldwide. And I hope with this new podcast that I can get it up there that to again, because we can't give up. We got to be relentless, and keep going. Because I don't want to, but,
And that's what's great about the new word, the animal warriors, because warriors are a sign of strength and determination and dedication. And we need all of the people with those qualities to keep fighting for the animals and be the voice. So I love the new name. I think it's going to do even better than this one.
oh, you know what? I do too, and I love your name too, Bear Warriors United. I love that.
Right?
Bear
Yeah.
War.
And
Yes,
you
yes,
know, we got that name. We came up with that name back in 2016 when we first started, fighting with the FWC to stop the bear hunt. And Warriors it was such an easy pick to use Warriors because we were all fighting like Warriors to stop it. We were able to stop it in 2016 and every year after until last year. But, we use the word bear obviously because we first started out fighting the bear hunt. Warriors because we were an army of warriors fighting together for the same cause. And then United was because we united together. There were a bunch of different groups, different people from all walks of life united together. And then later on, it became Bear Warriors United for all wildlife in Florida. And we started fighting for all wildlife in Florida because what's going on with the bears affects every other animal in the state. And, a lot of that has to do with sprawl development, killing their homes, killing the forest. And that sprawl development also leads to water contamination. And that's where our first lawsuit came in for the manatees. A lot of sprawl development created more septic tank pollution, more water treatment facility spills into the Indian River Lagoon. That human sewage spills, there were millions of gallons spilled into the Indian River Lagoon. That human
mm,
sewage spill caused algal blooms. Those algal blooms blocked the sunlight out because y'all have seen the algal blooms before. It's that green slimy stuff on top of the water. Well, it
yes,
also not only does it stink, it blocks out the sun. The sun cannot make it to the bottom of the Indian River Lagoon where seagrass grows. And we all know plants need the sun to grow. So when you take that sun away, that seagrass is going to die. Well, guess what that seagrass fed? Manatees. That was their main food source in the northern Indian River Lagoon. The overdevelopment pollution killed the manatees' food source, starved thousands of manatees to death. And we filed a lawsuit against the state of Florida, the Florida Department of Environmental Protection. We accused them of violating the Endangered Species Act by killing manatees. Everyone knows the Endangered Species Act, and we'll go into later how there are several attacks at several levels of government trying to eviscerate the Endangered Species Act, all because we won this lawsuit last year. So this lawsuit is a huge deal. It is setting precedent. It's a landmark decision. But when we first filed it, we accused FDEP of killing manatees, violating the Endangered Species Act. The judge ruled in our favor, said yes, the state is guilty of violating the Endangered Species Act by killing manatees, starving them to death. with overdevelopment, sewage pollution. Then we're like, all right, yay, we won. But then the judge says, all right, yeah, they're guilty. They did it. The manatees died, thousands of them. Now you have to prove that the state is going to continue to kill the manatees. Well, that was an extra step that most organizations have never been asked to prove. So sadly, that year that he asked us to prove ongoing take, I put take in quotes, the taking of a species includes killing a species, harassing, harming. So he wanted us to prove ongoing take. That year, which was last year, happened to be one of the record breaking years for baby manatee mortalities. And we made sure those babies did not die in vain, because with their deaths, we could prove that the state was continuing to not only pollute, but they were continuing to kill manatees, because all of the manatees that survived starvation were now chronically malnourished for the rest of their lives and could not produce healthy babies. Therefore, you had a record number of baby manatees being stillborn or dying at a very young age because their mothers were chronically malnourished from overdevelopment, pollution, killing off their seagrass. So there's lots of dots to connect, but we won that. We won that lawsuit, and when we won and proved the second step, which the judge ruled again in our favor, yes, the state will continue to kill manatees. Then he said, you get injunctive relief. So we came up with a list of injunctive relief, and say in other lawsuits, if you win the lawsuit, your relief is like in a car wreck. You get money for your pain and suffering. Well, we didn't ask money for the manatees because the manatees can't use money, right? So our
Right.
injunctive relief, we asked that the state feed the manatees until the seagrass grows back. Now, isn't that like a cool, feel good ask that we did? Just provide food until you clean up the river. That was our second request, clean up the Indian River Lagoon from pollution and let the seagrass grow back, and everyone lives happily ever after. So we asked for two simple things that we thought the state would be absolutely ecstatic to work with us on. Feed the manatees until the seagrass grows back. We're going to clean up the Indian River Lagoon. We're not only going to save manatees from starving to death, we're going to bring back the dolphin populations, the fish populations, the bird populations, because that entire Indian River Lagoon ecosystem had collapsed. 99% of the seagrass had died. So
Mm.
that's why it was a complete desert, and not just a desert, but a polluted, toxic desert. There was even a teenager who was paddleboarding in the same area where these manatees starved to death from the sewage pollution. He had a cut on his leg. He ended up paralyzed because
Mm.
of the contaminants in the water. And I don't know what happened with that lawsuit, but that mother was suing, I think, the state for that pollution. So when we won, all we wanted was for them to clean up the water and feed the manatees until they could survive on their own with seagrass that were hopefully going to grow back rather quickly. Well, the state did not want to do that, and we were shocked when they appealed our lawsuit, because they could have been heroes. They could have said, you know what, kind of admit, you shouldn't have had to sue us to get us to clean up the Indian River Lagoon and to prevent starvation deaths for manatees. Let's get this done. Let's clean it up in record time. No, that's not what happened. What happened was the state of Florida used taxpayer money to hire attorneys to file an appeal of our hard won righteous
Mm.
lawsuit. And so now we go to court for that appeal this month, April 21st, in Atlanta. We invite everyone to join us in court because we want to pack that courtroom and show that panel of appellate judges that people in Florida and everywhere around the United States care about our manatees, and we want clean water, and that should be a very simple ask of our government to do. And so anyway, we need to survive this appeal because not only will it save manatees from starving to death, and that local extinction will happen if we don't stop the pollution. So we're going to be able to save the manatees from going extinct. We're going to be able to clean up the Indian River Lagoon and bring all of those wildlife, fish, and bird populations back. And bonus, we're going to bring back that economy that local fishermen depended on. They haven't been able to do fishing tours. There's no more manatee kayaking tours. I mean, this really affected, if you don't care about manatees, what you do care about is making money. And fishermen and tour guides have had a huge hit with the pollution killing off their business. So, but the most important thing why we need to win this, besides saving manatees from going extinct, is this will determine the future of the Endangered Species Act itself. This is huge. We have to make sure the Endangered Species Act stays effective and stays intact, because it's the one tool that we have been able to effectively use to save our wildlife and to save their homes, which is our waters and our lands. And, we call the manatees the sentinels of the seas, the sentinels of our waters, because what happens to them happens to us. If we pollute that water to the point that they die, we're going to die. And we don't want that. We want a clean, healthy future for our children, for our wildlife. And that's why we need all the positive energy and prayers that you can send out, that we survive this appeal and that we can keep the Endangered Species Act, and that we can make sure those Indian River Lagoon manatees do not go extinct. So if y'all want any information on the court, you feel free to email me at bearwarriorsunited@gmail.com. But it's going to take place in Atlanta on April 21st at 8:30 a.m. So,
The more supporters, the better,
yeah, for
and
sure.
and their voices. I mean, if anybody can be there, please spread the word if you can't, because maybe there's someone that that can, and we
Exactly.
got to win this, because they all deserve better, better care and better treatment, and their
Absolutely.
lifestyles. I mean, all
Yeah.
of them. And it's
Yeah.
sad that what they got to go through and how hard you got to fight for that, when it should be already there to help them.
Exactly. Yeah. There's a
Yep.
saying from Ansel Adams. He was an artist, and he has a saying, and it's quite impactful. He says it's horrifying that we have to fight our own government to save the environment, and it is. Like, we shouldn't have to go through these links and spend hundreds of thousands of dollars, which we have, on this one lawsuit to get the government to do the right thing by our wildlife. These are innocent animals. They're God's creatures, and they
That's
deserve the
right.
protection and compassion. They're entitled to that. We don't have the right to kill them and to destroy their homes. So, we need the state to be the good stewards of Florida, like we're good stewards of animals. And, that's all we ask. And it's still very disheartening and confusing that the state of Florida, with this endless supply of, financial assistance, is just not taking the steps to do what's right, when in fact they could say, hey, look what we're doing. We're saving the manatees. We're cleaning up the Indian River Lagoon. We're bringing back economies. They could be heroes in this, and just, go for miles with a bunch of good PR, and they decided to go the other way. So we're fighting them. We're not going to stop fighting them, because we're warriors. And if anyone has any questions about that lawsuit before I go on to the bear hunt lawsuit, we can talk about it now if you want to.
Yeah, that's fine with me, because they're all important, and to get the word out and awareness. I mean, whoa, what's going on? So best
Yeah,
of luck in the 2026. Let's fix these problems, everyone, in 2026, because
yeah,
they so well deserve. Let their animal rights be granted, not ignored. And swept under the carpet, because they're the animals always pay the price. you
yeah,
know
yeah,
and that's the
exactly.
sickening part. So and as long as the longer it takes, the more they suffer, and they're in harm's way and possibly death. Okay,
Yeah,
so We all got to come together and get stronger because we are strength in numbers. Okay, like Mama Cat always tells me, and it's so true. Power in numbers, and the
Oh yeah.
more of us that come together, hey, the stronger we get. And let your
Right.
voices be heard and your actions be recognized. Because once these victories come through, you're going to do the happy dance because you knew you was part of it, and you're not, and you won't
Right.
stop there. Hey, there's some sounds coming in the back. Is that? Are you on speakerphone?
I am. Is there a way? I wonder if I can. You know what? I'm in my truck, and there's some rough roads. So let me pull over. If
Oh,
the
you're in your truck. You're be careful. Oh my goodness,
Yeah.
Katrina,
Oh,
that's not good.
no, no. I
Oh
pulled
my
over
goodness.
on the side of the beeline next to the Bright Line Trail. So let me pull over here. But did
Okay.
anyone in the audience have any questions about the manatee lawsuit before we go on to the bear hunt lawsuit?
Yeah, if anybody has any questions in the chat room, just press the mic icon or the phone icon at the
I do, I
lower
do.
right. All right, Mama Cat, there she is. Katrina, I think you remember Mama Cat. She's a former guest of
Yes.
mine and a great friend. A tag team, we multitask together. You know, Mama
Wonderful.
Cat. Oh, and I want to tell everybody on March the 31st was Mama Cat's 95th birthday.
Wow.
Hey,
No, it's
hey,
not. I'm just kidding.
Oh,
listen. It it was the
She's
38th. Listen, it was the 38th anniversary of my 28th birthday. So there.
there you go.
I had to give you Mama Cat because you always
Yeah,
get me with Big
that's
Buford coming through the
okay.
chat room. She always likes messing with me, Katrina. You know,
Yes, I
and
bet.
it's all
No.
funny. It's every bit of it's funny. You
Well,
know.
I was thinking, my God, she sounds wonderful for 95.
Well, thank you very much. Hey, I have a question for you, Katrina.
Sure.
Um, I've been seeing a lot of, um, I guess, documentaries online about Florida using oyster shells
Mhm.
and putting them in strategic locations, and it's bringing back a lot of the fish, a lot of the seagrass. It's
Oh wait!
and
Oh, hold on a second. We got some lot of sounds coming in the back. I don't know what it is. I know it's not me.
Not
Um,
me.
Wait a minute. It's okay. There, it disappeared. I don't know if it's a
Okay.
speakerphone or what's going on. But this podcast picks up all kind of sounds. You know.
it
There it
Ah,
is
does.
again.
okay.
I'm trying to figure it out. It's like a roaring thunder in the back or something.
Oh, wow.
Roaring thunder. All right.
I know it was thundering here earlier, but it stopped, and I'm on the patio. So if it starts thundering again, I got to run inside.
I knew
You
you
Yeah.
were
know,
on the patio.
I'm on the patio live stream.
Yes.
It can't get no better
Okay.
than this,
But I
except
was
when it's
just
gonna get
wondering.
hot out. Go
I
ahead. I'm
was
Yeah.
just
sorry.
wondering if you had heard about any of that. The
Yeah.
oysters being used to reclaim. Now, what do you think about that in the manatee area? Have they
Now,
tried anything like that?
what I have heard, not so much oyster shells, but oysters themselves, they filter water. Oysters and clams actually filter water. And an interesting story about oysters in the northern Indian River Lagoon, where this massacre happened, this mass starvation of manatees happened, was I think it was in the 90s. The FWC, the Florida Fish and Wildlife Commission, allowed anyone to take an unlimited amount of oysters from the northern Indian River Lagoon.
There you
And
have it. Yeah.
yep, and what happened was there was a lot of tourists from New York and New Jersey that came down and just eviscerated the oyster population. So there was one little, puzzle piece here. All of the water cleaners, those oysters were taken away. So that means that the Indian River Lagoon had to work even harder because they no longer had those oysters to clean the water. Now, um, There are some groups that are planting oysters in the Indian River Lagoon. There are some that are planting even seagrass, to try to get a head start, some clams, and these are all great. But sadly, the Indian River Lagoon is so contaminated from overdevelopment sewage pollution that the seagrass is dying and the oysters and clams aren't working. It's just too much. And what our lawsuit does, it's those oysters and the clams and planting seagrass, those are all band-aids. Those are kind of like putting a band-aid on uh, a compound thigh fracture that is bleeding profusely. It's not going to work to fix it. And what our lawsuit does is prevents the pollution before it starts. And one way it does that, it requires, the Indian River Lagoon to be cleaned up. And one of those ways it helps is that in our lawsuit, in the injunctive relief, we won one of the most important issues in our injunctive relief list was that the FDEP, the state, has to, from now on, apply to the federal government to get the federal government's permission to do an incidental take permit. So they have to submit an incidental take permit. And what this is getting permission to do is to kill manatees with overdevelopment. Now, in a very righteous and just world, a federal government would never approve a permit to incidentally kill manatees. But we're very concerned with the state and federal governments at this point. Um, but that's how we're going to clean up the Indian River Lagoon. So what happens is at the city and county commission levels, I know a lot of us on this call have probably been to those city and county commission levels and spoken, or commission meetings, and we've spoken on record against a development that they were going to build. And when a county commission approves a development, they do a zoning change. That zoning change and permission to build a development in former agriculture lands or in a former forest, that permission has to be given to the county commission by the state. So now, with our lawsuit, winning our lawsuit in injunctive relief, now the state gets that permission, that permit from the county commission, and now the state has to go higher to the feds and say, okay, we need your permission to accidentally kill manatees with overdevelopment pollution, so we can approve this development permit for the county commission that wants to add more septic tanks to the Indian River Lagoon or more stress on the water treatment facilities. So the oysters and clams and planting seagrass are wonderful ideas, but they just can't get the job done right now with the level of pollution that is there, right? It's kind of wasted money and wasted energy. Until we can stop the pollution at its source, those poor oysters and clams are just going to die. They can't handle, it's too much for them to handle, but they are wonderful. And I'd like to think if they would have been left in place to be a part of the ecosystem the way that God or the universe had planned, this catastrophe might not have been as bad. And that goes back to the state agency, the Florida Fish and Wildlife Commission, allowing people to overharvest. That's not good. It was bad science. And look what happened. We had an ecosystem collapse of where they overharvested those oysters. And now we can tie the FWC and the manatee lawsuit into the bear lawsuit, because it's the FWC, Florida Fish and Wildlife Commission, that we are suing to stop bear hunting. And when hunters kill a bear, they like to call it harvesting. And we like to call um, bull stuff on that, because bears aren't corn plants that get harvested. They're living, innocent beings. They are not harvested. When they are allowed to be killed by a hunter, it's horrible what they're doing, what they're allowing to bears. So I don't want to go into the bear lawsuit until I've answered all your questions. And that's a great question. And I thought you would like that little bit of history about the FWC allowing an overharvesting of those oysters. We love oysters, we love clams, we love the planting programs. It's just not working right now because the pollution is so bad. And it's very heartbreaking. And I know it's a very depressing topic to be talking about, but we have to bear witness to what's going on and we have to fight even harder to make sure it doesn't continue. So that
Right.
was a good question. Yeah.
Thank you. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was great there, Mama Cat. And
Yeah.
when she said she was calling in from her truck driving, I was like, wait a minute, you know. I said, you should see what Mama Cat calls in from the ICU.
Oh my
She was,
gosh.
I know, in recovery. And the doctor's office and the imaging because there's 2 hour difference, you know. And
Yeah.
I was like. Yeah, I told her you have 9 lives, Mama Cat. There's no questions asked.
That's funny.
And she cracks me up, you know. So,
Yeah.
You got to
Katrina,
call in where your feet are, you know?
because I was, I was thinking when you was telling me, okay, I'll be, okay, you get some rest, take it easy. And what does she do? She calls in.
Oh, well, that's dedication. That's
I
dedication and
that's I'll tell
devotion.
you what. Yeah, and I got Lisa Copeland, another animal warrior sister. She has a question also. Lisa, can
Great.
you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Thank you for all your ongoing support and sharing my shows. All of you. I mean, this is wonderful. And I hope when I get the new podcast, you come and all of you follow me there. You know, because I got to
Oh,
start from
yes.
scratch. And so, but
Yes,
go ahead.
definitely.
Yep.
I have a question
There's that sound. I'm
about
sorry. There's that sound again. I don't know what it is. Hold on one second. And it's lightning. Oh no.
Uh-oh.
uh-oh.
Yeah, it should be
Run.
okay. Run. Okay, go ahead. Now there it went away. I don't know what that sound is. It's something like in the background. But I want to
Huh.
make
Huh.
sure you're heard loud and clear. Okay, we're making voices heard worldwide out there. But go right ahead. Welcome aboard.
Hi. Hi. My name is Lisa. I'm from Massachusetts. I was wondering, I was reading something about the NOAA
Wait a minute,
giving
that sounds.
95
I'm
million.
sorry. There's something in the background. I don't know what it is. If somebody's on speakerphone or what, it's picking up outdoor sounds. And I'm sorry to interrupt. Okay, it keeps coming and going.
Oh, yep,
What
there
is
it
that?
is.
Yeah, there it
I
is.
don't know. Is
You hear
somebody
it?
driving?
Somebody's wires are loose or it could be a bad static or it must usually on speakerphone it'll put it pick up other sounds or if you can get in the like a more soundproof like a soundproof booth. There we go. Okay, there it went. There goes Wake. I'm sorry, Lisa. Go right ahead.
I was reading an article that the NOAA is giving 95 million to clean up the whole 150 it's 156 miles ness of the Indian River, and they're already in progress. Is that a true fact?
Well, if they're advertising it, they so if I'm going to be blunt and honest, there are
Yes.
a lot of let's see, grifts going on where
Mm-hmm.
government money is going for programs that aren't working, but they are um going to friends or campaign donors for jobs that aren't cleaning up the river, but it's making a few people a lot of money. And I can
Right.
give you an example.
Oh, you're
So,
too nice about that.
well, okay. Well, I saw the warning on Deb's screen that says no profanity. So I have to describe what's going on with no profanity. And but here's an example that I can give without using profanity. Couple so along with suing the state, we didn't just go to court right away because that would be very litigious. What we tried many, many, many solutions to fix this problem before we
Right.
sued them. And I was convinced, I was so convinced that the state was going to be happy to work with us. We were going to get this cleaned up, and it just didn't happen. But one of the solutions that we found is a company called Riovation, Riovatation. And this is a company. I've toured their facility in Crystal River several times. Matter of fact, I got a call out of the blue and said, "Hey, my name's Steven. I'm with Riovation, and read about your lawsuit in the septic tank industry magazine." And
Wow.
when we filed our lawsuit, it made shockwaves through the septic tank industry because, part of this, the killing of the manatees came from the sewage pollution leaked from septic tanks along the Indian River Lagoon. And so I'm like, "Oh," and he goes, "You know what? I think we have a fix. We would love for you to come to our facility." I went, it took my attorneys, and blown away by this very simple, inexpensive solution. And what it is, all right, we know what septic tanks are, right? We know
Yeah.
when we flush the toilet, it goes into a septic tank. And there's these things called a drain field. And septic tanks are intentionally made to leach these products from sewage called phosphorus nitrogen into these drain fields in our yards. Now, the soil is supposed to kind of filter out all the toxins. Well, in Florida, we have more of a sandy soil,
Oh, yeah.
so it's not
Yeah.
filtering all of that phosphorus and nitrogen out. Also, we have violated the EPA's recommendation that there should only be one septic tank for every 17 acres. Now imagine all of these sprawl
Wow.
neighborhoods packed together. We might have 17 septic tanks on 1 acre when it's supposed to be one septic tank on 17 acres. So that was already going to be a problem. And our expert witness on the lawsuit was sounding the alarms in the 90s about what was going to happen to the Indian River Lagoon from septic tanks and the water treatment facilities, having these huge, huge sewage spills. So I go to this Riovation facility, and what they do is they have the septic tank cleaned out and they put their technology in it, and it's basically like an aerator. It creates bubbles, and it has this little film that catches the stuff that's bad. And I'm just going to make it super simple like that. But what the overall amazing thing
So
about this,
it works
it
almost like a filter.
yeah, it gets rid of the phosphorus and nitrogen inside the tank. So when that water leaches into our yards, there's no phosphorus and nitrogen to go into our waterways. And
Oh.
here's the kicker, it is a fraction of the cost of the sewer to septic to sewer, that they're paying billions for in the state of Florida. They want everyone to, get rid of their septic tanks and hook on the city and sewer, city sewer and water. Well, guess what? There's bad things with that. One is when you get rid of septic tanks and you get rid of people's ability to live in a rural area or not be hooked up to a municipal water system, that encourages more sprawl. So we have a lot of people like, "No, I don't want my conversion done. I want to keep my septic tank." And so that's a bad thing right there. This mandatory conversion is inconveniencing a lot of septic tank owner, who has houses who are on septic tanks. And but the kicker is, say, I think don't quote me on this, maybe 25,000 for each septic tank house to be converted and hook up to a municipality water treatment facility. The
Hmm.
Reovation technology, putting it in the septic tank, is about $6,000 to $9,000. And not only does it, save like if every single septic tank along the Indian River Lagoon was retrofitted with the reovation technology, it would save the state over $1 billion by not having to do the septic to sewer conversion. And another great thing is it saves money, it gets rid of the problem inside the septic tank, and people's yards don't get torn up. You know, when they get rid of a septic tank and you get hooked up to all those pipes that go to a water treatment facility, your yard, the sides of the roads, there is a lot of
Hmm.
destruction and a lot of interruption. And it's also a loss of independence. You know, a lot of, and I'm a rural person. I live in the rural area. I like having a septic tank and a well. I'm not dependent on a municipality water treatment facility, which contributes so much pollution. It was actually the Titusville Osprey water treatment facility that spilled 7 million gallons of raw sewage in 2 days into the Indian River Lagoon
Oh my
about five
gosh.
weeks before we started getting the manatee starvation reports. So that 7 million gallon sewer spill or water treatment facility spill was the final nail in the coffin. The manatees, poor manatees, had already been struggling with all the septic tank pollution and the water treatment facility spills. But when that specific one happened in December of 2020, all the fish died, the birds died. It was disgusting in Titusville. There was
Oh,
raw sewage everywhere. You know, that was the final
Oh,
nail in the coffin. And 5 weeks later, boom, we get a mass starvation of manatees. So
oh.
when I say we sued the state, we tried so many things. I've gone to the state. I've actually lobbied, which is advocating with no pay, for
Hmm.
reovation. I've gone to every single legislator and said, hey, consider doing this. It's going to save taxpayers and save the government over $1 billion just for the septic tanks on the Indian River Lagoon alone. Imagine the rest of the state, how much they're going to save. But, and this is where I'm getting into the point, the part where I can't cuss. One of the legislators, when I told him about this, he goes, huh. He goes, well, one of my best friends owns the company that we're using to do the septic to sewer conversions. So his
Oh,
buddy was going to make billions off the state giving him the contracts to do the septic to sewer conversions, which not a lot of people wanted. So that's where that grift comes in. When they say they're spending this much money, they're not doing what we're asking them to do in our injunctive relief, which is what they are ordered to do by the court. They haven't done any of that. They are giving contracts to grifting friends and family members, just like they did with that state legislative friend who, you know, owns the company that's going to get very rich off doing what Floridians don't really want done. So
Wow.
that
No, it,
is, and we also have, say, Brevard County. They are spending taxpayer dollars on dredging up the muck, like removing the muck at the bottom. That's doing nothing to stop the sewage pollution. The Brevard County
no.
commissioners keep approving applications for sprawl development, and they're adding more pollution. And then they want to say, look at us, we're so great. We're removing the muck at the bottom of the Indian River Lagoon, like that's going to do anything. It's not. So that's where I think the majority of money is going, because we also requested quarterly reports for the Indian River Lagoon health. And the state has submitted 2 reports, and the water quality is not getting better. So we know all of that money that's being spent, all of these wonderful press releases that the governor is doing, saying we're doing this and we're doing that, it ain't working. They know it ain't working, but their friends are getting rich, fat and happy off of it.
So
And
the
that
agree.
governor DeSantis, right?
yes, yes, Governor DeSantis
He's
is funded by developers, and it's developers that are having a cow about us winning this lawsuit. So it's, I
and so
call it
he
the
knows about
developer
this
cartel.
company and he won't budge either.
Right, correct. I've gone directly to his office with the
Oh,
information, and you know, when our elected officials refuse to save money and clean up our waters, that should send a loud message to every single one of us, and it should
Yeah.
ensure that we do our research before we vote, and we don't vote because of a letter next to a name. And we have to get smart about who we're putting into office, because politics are controlling everything with our environment and our animals. So we need to get real
Yes.
warriors in there and real advocates to help our environment survive and to help our animals and to get rid of animal cruelty and make better laws and have better enforcement. And, we have a chance to change the tides this year. And if y'all follow me on Facebook or email me, I'll be able to give you the names of the candidates who are actually doing the right thing. And, we have a few. It's not, all hope is not lost. We have some really good people running for office, and we really need to get them in if we want to see our wildlife and our forests and our waters survive.
Yeah,
Yes.
and
Yes.
do your
Now,
part. Everybody, do your part because hey, take that action. That's the key, And Mama Cat, you always say strength in numbers, and it's so true because we become stronger together,
Yeah.
better than apart. So that's where we
Hmm.
got to see. If you want to see change, we got to take action. No questions asked. Because being silent is no solution for change, okay? Or looking the other
right.
way, sweeping it under the carpet, ignore it, because all these animals deserve better. I mean, the wildlife, look how they're living out in the wild. So they're just trying to live comfortably and survive and live in peace, and be treated with dignity and respect. And we all want that, even all of us human beings do.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
make that phone call or sign that petition. And I seen the petition on there for Save the Manatees and everything. And I got to go back and sign it, okay? And then I'm gonna share it because
Oh,
that's if you sign a petition or whatever, share it, please, and let it go into the news feed, whether it's on Facebook or X, retweet it, or LinkedIn, any social media out there.
yeah.
Copy and paste the address and put it everywhere in groups and pages. It's amazing how many signatures you can get in a 24-hour period because I've seen
Mhm.
it because I've tracked them.
Oh, good.
And just keep
Yeah.
resharing because not everybody's on social media same time of day. So I do a lot of tagging also, and
Right.
that helps out because I notice
Yes.
on either if it's Facebook or X, it'll be shared. This show and all other shows will be shared during the weekend, and they're all archived, so you can always go back and listen to them and share them. You know, and for all these other websites out there, and
Agree.
once we all do this, it's going to pick up. It's going to escalate, and that's what we want.
Yeah.
It's not going to decrease in signatures. It's going to escalate to
That's right.
multitask.
Yeah.
Come over and help out because when you double over and you help this issue out or that issue, hey, we go double with strength in numbers, sometimes quadruple. And that's the key right there.
Yeah.
Let your voices be heard and let your actions be
Yeah.
recognized.
And
Because that's
speaking of
yep,
numbers, you brought up a good point. I know a lot of us have received those emails that said, sign this petition. Manatees
yes,
are dying. This made global news, this manatee starvation event. There's thousands of manatees dying and thousands of baby manatees dying. Um,
oh,
be
sad.
very, it's horrible. Be very, very careful because I have received tons of emails from these organizations that say donate here to save the manatees. No, no, no. Do not donate. Do not donate. These are
Mm-mm.
fake organizations, or they are organizations that have zero to do with this lawsuit. And this will happen a lot with same with stopping the bear hunt. We had several organizations that would send out emails saying donate to us, we're working on the front lines to stop the bear hunt. Not true. There were three groups that did that, and we were all local levels, and, working at the low. It was me, Adam, Chuck O'Neill. We all had our groups. We were the boots on the ground, but all of these obscure, made up, fake organizations are trying to get money, and they're doing that with the manatee lawsuit. So please, please research. If you ever feel like donating to, stop the manatee starve, email me and say, hey, is this organization legit? Don't give anyone your money. Especially now, we don't have a lot of extra money to give. So if you do, make sure you're giving it to a legitimate cause and a legitimate organization that's actually
Yes.
working on this.
That's
Hmm.
right. Do your homework and find out. Bear Warriors United, highly reputable. You could trust them. I don't want to have no or fake organizations on my podcast ever, or I will not promote them. I watch what I post. Because there's so many, and the bad guys make you look bad for the good guys.
Right.
And it's
Yeah.
terrible. And we can't, get rid of them and do your homework and research before you donate to any of them. Bear
Yeah.
Warriors
That's
United,
true.
they're very highly reputable and they got a great reputation. They're out there working hard,
Yeah.
and it's nothing's for free. So if you want to help
Yeah.
out, please donate to them and help them out to hit that victory, to hit that good news, make
Yeah.
better lives for manatees and black bears. You know,
Exactly. Yeah.
because
But right now,
nothing's ever
it's
free.
no, no,
Yep.
it's not. We have amassed over $1.3 million in legal costs, and thankfully, our attorneys have given us a discounted rate. So we've, I hate saying only, but out of that 1.3 million, we've paid I think about 300 to 400,000, and we only owe 50. We've paid everything except about 50,000 right now, and that's pretty. I know it's sometimes overwhelms me when I'm like, oh my gosh, I owe an attorney $50,000. But for this massively important of a lawsuit that's going to determine the survival of the Endangered Species Act itself, having that 50,000 hanging over my head isn't the big thing. The big thing is surviving this appeal and being able to stop that out of control development and the pollution. And we can do that because our lawsuit that we already won in federal court, that is the best tool that Floridians can use to save our waters and to save our manatees. So, financial times are tough right now. The war started. A lot of people are very overwhelmed. I'm not even asking for donations right now because it's such a stressful time for people. What I would love to see is people come to our two hearings. The one for the manatees is April 21st, 8:30 a.m. in Atlanta, the federal appellate court. We want to pack that room, and then our bear hunt lawsuit is in Tallahassee in August. We don't have the exact date yet, but we would love to pack that courtroom as well. And until the economy gets better and the war stops, I feel more comfortable asking people to come and be present in court than money, um, just for a while. And I know money's important and we need it to do lawsuits, but I want to be respectful about people's situation and compassionate, about what's going on in the world. So I would
Yep.
love to meet every single one of you in either of the courtrooms. I think it'd be great. We could have a big party afterwards
There
because
you go.
we're gonna
Yep.
win. We're gonna win, and we're
That's
going
right.
to save the Endangered Species Act. We're going to save those manatees. We're going to clean up the Indian River Lagoon, and we're going to stop bear hunting in Florida forever. That's
That's
what we
right.
need to
Oh,
project out into
hey,
the universe.
keep the prayers coming, because that
Yeah,
black bear hunt in December, I remember interviewing you and Adam and all the protests, and they were
yes,
peaceful. There was
oh
not
yeah,
no one stepping out of line, and not getting
yeah,
arrested. It was peaceful. That's the way they should be. And
yeah.
respecting the police out there and whoever's around, and there won't be no issues.
No. And you
So
know what? The police were great. When we went to we did a statewide protest, but there was a big group of us that also went to the state capitol a couple weeks before the hunt was supposed to start, and it was before our injunction to stop the hunt happened. And I had called I'd actually spoke with a person at the FWC. I'm like, "Hey, we're going to have a protest." He goes, "Oh, I've heard." And I'm like, well, good. And I said, want to make sure it's okay with y'all. And, maybe, want to make sure it's okay. We protest in front of your building. And he goes, you know what? I heard you were going to have a protest. I already have a spot picked out for y'all. We're going to rope it off and you'll get the most exposure to traffic. Like you'll have the most cars seeing your protest signs. in this spot that I picked out for you. And I'm like, well, how much nicer does it get than the person the organization that I'm suing, FWC, making the most of our protest and giving us the best spot and protecting us. There were like 4 police officers there, and that was a way to have a protest. It was great. There was nonviolent, and we thanked them. They thanked us, and it was a very good interaction for us in Tallahassee.
Yes, and that's the way it should be because we have to respect our police out there. They're doing their job.
Oh
There's
yeah.
no excuses to go and throw things at them and throw their temper
Oh
tantrums
gosh, no.
and try to fight them and every. That is a no. That's a
Oh
plan.
yeah,
If
horrible.
these people plan to go to jail if they do that, and you see this violence going
Hmm.
on, disrespect them all to. I mean, to the top. So everyone out there,
Yeah.
please, with the police out there, all of them, okay? They're out there doing their job, and we want, and they go on every day. Their life is on the line, okay,
Hmm.
and they don't even know if they're going to come home or not. So please, spread the word out there because that is totally unacceptable to be at protests and rallies and just having this big temper tantrum and throwing things and cussing and yelling and you know
Hmm.
it's totally uncalled for. It doesn't
No.
have to happen that way,
And
so
the FWC, the Florida Fish and Wildlife Commission, their law enforcement officers are second to none. I love them. They do a great job. They have a hard job. And, they are, we have a dedicated police force to catch and arrest poachers and people who commit animal cruelty against wildlife. And these FWC law enforcement officers do a great job. We need 1,000 more of them in the state of Florida because there are so many wildlife criminals. There's so many poachers and poaching rings going on. I can't say enough good things about FWC law enforcement. And like I said, it was just a great interaction with our protesters, and the FWC's law enforcement. And like I said, it was so funny because it was Bear Warriors United suing the FWC, and they were still gracious and gave us a great place to protest. And they were there. If anyone was going to do anything bad to us, we had police there looking out for us to make sure there was going to be, no violence. Because sadly, and Deb, you and I talked about this the other day, I have stalkers, I have death threats, and the very people who hate that we're trying to save bears, they take pleasure in killing bears, and they are accustomed to killing and taking the
right.
life of a living being. These are
Yep.
people with a sociopathic mindset that they would think nothing of shooting one of us for protesting the bear hunt. So those FWC police officers were there for our safety because those bear hunters are a very nasty, nasty group of people, and most of them are criminals with violent histories, and they
It's
find
just
pleasure in
sickening.
killing. Yeah, they're sick.
Mm.
We don't like them. They're not ethical hunters, and we were glad the FWC police officers were there that day, and we hope that every law enforcement agency that is dedicated to protecting animals could have this kind of mutually respectful relationship like we do.
It's so very important, and to the protection that you had because you don't know, I wish these when they were killing these bears, it was so sad hearing that this bear hunt, trophy hunt back in December. It was what I remember the dates because I was blasting it all over the place on X and LinkedIn and help stop
Mm-hmm.
this bear hunt from December 3rd to the 28th, and they said they only or 52 is 52 too many, okay? That
Uh-huh.
were, yeah, it's too many. And they didn't even have way stations or anything. Now they're
Nope.
talking about you can have up to 6 dogs to attack kill these bears. That is so wrong. And you can't blame the dogs because they're trained to kill, okay? So you blame the owner of them dogs, and
Yeah.
it's sickening. And
Yeah.
these dogs don't stand a chance. And then I find out these dogs that they're trained to kill bears and deers and everything. Adam has a website, Dog Wars, and when he comes on the 23rd, we're going to be talking about that. How in some places in Florida they have what, up to 6 dogs to kill the deer. Okay, that is so wrong and it's so injustice. Why can't they leave the animals alone? Is it that difficult? They need
Yeah.
to get a life, a real life, and show some dignity and respect because
Yeah.
this is so wrong to for them to do that.
Oh, it
It's so
is.
injustice. I mean, unjustifiable. I mean, how
Yeah.
could you really go feel good? And I hate Katrina. I hate these photos that's going through these news feeds where it shows a bear killed and they're smiling because they just killed
Yeah.
a bear. It's
Hate
like
'em.
sickening, or an elephant, or a giraffe, or
Yeah.
and I go, oh, it pushes my button. It's like, why do they need to do that, and why are they smiling? Do they really feel that good? Hey, oh, they want to put a deer's head on their wall. That looks disgusting, okay?
Fine.
Because that deer went through hell and back, was suffered, killed, and then you want to put it on the wall or a bear rug or
Mhm.
something.
Yeah.
Why? I mean, it's so unattractive to me. It's animal cruelty right
Uh,
there, front lines. You
yeah.
know, and we got to respect them. These are God's beautiful, innocent creatures. We
Mhm.
have to protect them. And I believe this is what I believe. We're God's messengers getting the word out. Because he's looking at this is a no-no. This is
Oh
not
yeah. There's
right.
nothing
And
okay with the
no,
animal cruelty
no.
that happens when, the dogs, yes, they're trained to attack and kill and just mutilate and rip apart other animals.
Oh,
But guess what kind of abuse goes into their training? These dogs
yep.
live outside in these horrible kennels. They're not treated like members of the family. They're starved. They're treated horribly. They're choked. So they're victims of abuse before they go out and kill an animal. And dog hunting, there's a little thing there's a schism in the hunting community. Still hunters are the guys who sit up in the tree stands and they stay still and they wait until the animal comes by, then they shoot the animal. The still hunters hate the hunters who use dogs because those dogs ruin hunting for the still hunters. So
Mm,
this is a common knowledge that some hunters hate other hunters. Well, then there's the trophy hunters that the still hunters hate because these trophy hunters are killing for a trophy. And that's a big no no. If
mm,
you're a quote unquote ethical hunter, you don't kill for a trophy, you kill to eat. And these idiots that are posting their picture smiling with a dead animal with blood coming out of its mouth is they're just shooting themselves in the foot literally with they're making hunting more and more unpopular. There's less hunters now than any time in the history of the world because
great,
of
agrees.
social
That's great.
media.
Yep.
It is, and it's because of social media and them being so stupid and braggadocious about posing with dead animals. They're not getting any fans. They're losing fans, they're losing hunters, and the younger generation is not putting up with this cruelty. They don't like it. And thank God that the younger generation is a lot smarter and less tolerant of cruelty than our generations because they're going to make it a better future for our animals and for the planet. So those hunters are just they're they're shooting themselves in their own foot, which is good. We just got to give them enough rope to let them hang themselves with because they're doing a really good job of that.
Oh yeah, they need to take them down. They need to get
Uh-huh.
a life and turn it over a new leaf and help the animals and leaving them
Oh yeah,
alone. They
exactly.
have every right to live on and share this earth temporarily, like we
Mhm.
do.
Yeah,
And be
yeah.
treated with dignity and respect. And animal cruelty is animal cruelty, animal abuse. They're crimes. And
Oh yeah.
neglect. They're crimes. They should be treated like crimes, not let this group can go out and torture them behind the scenes and do
Yeah,
this and that and not get charged. No, we
exactly.
need stiffer laws and harsher penalties. Everyone, we have to protect them, be their defenders, be
Oh
their
yeah.
warriors. because if we don't, the problem is going to get worse, and we want to see it massively decrease. It'll never go away totally, but we want to see it massively decrease.
And
Leave the animals alone. Is it
yeah.
that difficult? Go stay home with your families and your friends, and enjoy life. That to me is not enjoying life. And killing contests, there's another one. I just
Oh yeah.
had a
Horrible.
show on. It's
Oh,
terrible, and I've been meaning to get one
it
on
is.
can hunting. That is so cruel too.
Oh.
Um,
Oh, and we
oh
have over 100 can hunting facilities in Florida alone. But I wanted to bring up it is some good news because the hunt, when you said things are going to get worse, they got worse last year when the FWC commissioners voted to have a hunt, a bear hunt, and they hadn't since 2015. We've been able to stop it. Bear Warriors United, myself, my volunteers, we've been working with the FWC to help people secure their trash and live, coexist peacefully and responsibly.
yes,
And the commissioners that voted to have a hunt, they did it after the head bear biologist of the FWC gave a presentation, gave an update on the bear management plan, and said no further action is needed. Well, the first FWC commissioner that spoke after that wonderful presentation was given said, let's talk about having a bear hunt. And that commissioner happens to be a developer of one of the biggest developments in Florida. I don't know if anyone's heard of the Villages. It used to be the bottom of the Ocala Forest, the bottom of Marion County, and it was all cracker cattle, cow pastures, agriculture land. Now it's thousands and thousands and thousands of houses. Well, that commissioner, the FWC commissioner, is a developer for the Villages. And interesting enough, and this is where the grifting and where the corruption comes in, 5 out of 7 of the FWC wildlife commissioners are developers. And when you can make a vote like they did and get bears killed, that means there's less imperiled species living in the forest to protect those lands from development. And when you kill off the animals, you can say, oh, that's not wildlife habitat. That's just undeveloped land. We don't have any bears living in those woods. So let's develop it. So that's where it all ties in. Like our manatee lawsuit goes back to overdevelopment. The bear hunting is actually a way for developers to use stupid trophy hunters as a tool to wipe bears off the landscape so they can easier develop what's left of our forest. And so they did that. They made that vote. We filed a lawsuit. We realized the lawsuit was not going to be heard before the hunt started. So we filed a second thing called emergency injunction to stop it. We went to court for that. Sadly, tragically, horribly, we were not granted that. Apparently, it's impossible to get. But our lawsuit remains. The FWC filed a motion to have our lawsuit dismissed, and the judge threw it out of court. So we survived. We go to trial. But in the meantime, I was devastated when we did not get that emergency injunction. I was certain the judge would say, you can't do this because, one, the FWC just had their own science come back, and one of their bear populations had decreased by 67% in 10 years. That should have been an automatic stop to the hunt, and they did not stop the hunt. And then right after their science came back showing a huge decrease in the bear population, Boone and Crockett, the oldest hunting org in the country, came out with a comprehensive, several year long study saying that 95% of animal poached goes undetected and unreported, which means there's another hit to Florida black bears. We don't have 4,000 bears. We might have 2,500, and the FWC should have stopped the hunt and waited for all of their population studies to come in and to calculate in the Boone and Crockett poaching numbers and stats. And they didn't do that, which is why we're going forward with our lawsuit. But in the meantime, when we lost that injunction and we're thinking, what is going on? They have their own population studies, they have the Boone and Crop poaching study. We can't have, it just doesn't make any scientific, moral, ethical, or legal sense to have bear hunting in Florida when urban sprawl development and car strikes are killing off the bears faster than they can reproduce. So, what we did, we had thousands and thousands of Floridians decided to apply for bear hunting permits, and there was $5 for each application, and you could buy as many as you wanted. I purchased 100 of the applications. It was like buying a lotto ticket. So I purchased 100 lotto tickets. I paid $500. There were several other bear advocates, several thousand bear advocates that bought these $5 applications. And when the list came out of the 172 people who were given, awarded, won, whatever you want to call these bear killing lotto tickets, we had at least 43 people on that list of 172 bear tag holders that were bear advocates that specifically bought the applications, those lotto tickets, to save a bear. So it was called the Spare a Bear Bag a Tag program. And so when I saw, I'm like, okay, that's awesome. We got 43 people. Those are 43 bears already saved. Then I went and I emailed, because I had the list of all the tag holders, and I emailed every single one of the people, not the 43, but the other people, the hunters, the actual hunters who won tags. And I can send y'all a copy of the email. It was an introductory email saying, we're contacting you because we care about bear conservation. We want to do everything in our power to save Florida black bears and their habitat. And we are offering every single hunter who has a hunting tag $2,000 to not kill a bear and to not use a tag. And we ended up getting a lot of hunters contacting us saying, yeah, I'll take your $2,000 not to kill a bear. And we paid over $30,000 to hunters to not kill bears. And after all was said and done, we were able to save 120 out of 172 bears from being killed on last year's hunt. The hunting organizations were calling it a flop. They were mad because we saved more bears than were killed. And, we had the lawsuit to stop it this year, but last year we did a damn good job. And I want all the Floridians to be very proud of what they did, because no other state or group has ever done something like this and had never been so successful in saving the majority of the animals slated for murder.
Good
So,
for you. Oh my
yeah,
God.
it was awesome.
Yep.
We're
Debbie,
just,
he needs the applause
Oh
button.
yeah, hold on a second.
yay!
Hold on.
Oh,
I
applause.
gotta find. And you better hope I can.
Yeah, this is awesome. And what I want to do, yeah. So there you go.
Hey, Bear Warriors United. All right.
Woo!
He
Yeah.
deserves that.
So we're super excited. And a funny story. Here's what I want to do. I want other states to use our playbook. I have the introductory level letter to the hunters, and I also have a contract that I had them sign. And when they would call me and say, hey, I want to take you up on your offer, I would meet them at post offices, and I would take a picture of them cutting up their tag. Now, a bear tag looks like a very thick, long green zip tie, and it had FWC engraved on it with the number, either 001, 172. It was, 172 tags were engraved in each tag holder's number. And so I would watch them cut it up, and then they would put it in the envelope, the self-addressed stamped envelope that the FWC provided. And when they put that envelope in the mail slot wall or gave it to the postmaster, I would PayPal over $2,000 to them. And, of course, they signed the contract that everything was going to be kept confidential. But here's the thing, those hunters that took the money, I will tell you, the nicest guys, some of the nicest, most respectful guys I've ever met. And and I was curious. I was like, well, why aren't you killing a bear? And, one guy, the first guy was like, I need to buy Christmas presents for my family. And I'm like, all right. The second guy, why aren't you killing a bear? And he goes, well, my fiance's car broke down, so I'm using the $2,000 to buy her a new transmission because she's been Ubering to work for 2 weeks. And I'm like, okay, great. And another guy, I'm like, why aren't you killing a bear this year with your tag? And he said, well, I only eat what I kill. I only kill to eat. I'm not a trophy killer. And he goes, I really didn't expect to win a tag. He goes, I only bought 5 applications. I'm like, are you kidding me? I go, I bought 100 and spent $500 and I didn't get one. And he goes, no, I only spent $25. I got a tag. And so he said, once I won the tag, he goes, well, I guess I better research recipes. And so he did some research and he found out that bear meat tastes bad. And this is something that I've told people forever. Anyone that says they hunt bear to eat them, they're all full of crap, because bear meat tastes horrible. It's greasy. It's got parasites and worms. So to hear this hunter say that, I'm like, oh, okay. I know this guy's telling the truth, right? Because then he said, so when I researched, and it was like, yeah, there's only one population of bear that tastes good, and they subside on, they exist on a purely fruit diet. They eat fruit and nothing else. And he goes, those are the only bears in the world that taste good. He goes, the rest of them taste bad. And he's like, that can't be true. Even like in Alaska, those bears, they eat all the healthy salmon. They have to taste good. So when he did research, they tasted some of the worst. And so this hunter was telling me, he goes, so I'm thinking, if the Alaska salmon fed bears taste bad, then those Florida trash can bears are going to be disgusting. He goes, then I got your email and it was the easiest financial decision I ever made because I wasn't going to eat a bear. And there you have it. So we got a lot of information from hunters because another one said, well, I only hunt on public land and I can't find bears on public land. He goes, the only people that are going to be getting bears are the ones that bait them on private property. Bam. That's a huge, huge argument for a lawsuit. And that's a huge indicator that we don't have 4,000 bears in Florida like the FWC is claiming. We have a lot less. And this is according to experienced hunters that cannot find bears on public land without baiting. And this is all goes back to the FWC commissioner should have never approved this hunt because they approve it according to numbers of bears they think that are there. And these bears are not there and they know it. And now we have proof from hunters. So the $30,000 that we spent to pay hunters to not kill bears was worth every penny because we got them to verify and confirm the arguments that we've been using to not have a hunt. They confirmed it, and that was, it's kind of a revelation, but it was all worth it. And we have to win this lawsuit to stop bear hunting. We have science, we have the truth, we have ethics, morals, and legalities on our side. The only way we're going to lose is if there's some kind of horrible corrupt pressure on the judge. We hope that's not the case. We hope her or his life is not being threatened. We've had that happen before where judges get threatened, judges get killed. So hopefully, everyone, like I said, send out your positive thoughts and your prayers that everything goes the way it should, because if the universe is just and if there is a God, they will rule in our favor and we will stop bear hunting in Florida forever.
That's it. Keep the prayers coming, because they
Yeah.
deserve to live the freedom. The mama bear's on your side 100%. Okay, because that's
Yes.
right. Don't poke the bear, because I'm
That
coming
is
out,
right.
and Mama Cat always says you can't catch Mama Bear. Yep.
Right. Exactly.
Where do
So
I go on? Poke
yeah, I'm wishing
Did
you the
anyone?
best of the best. I'm standing
Thank
with
you.
you.
Thank you.
And
Does anyone have questions about the bear hunt lawsuit, or
yeah, if this
did you buy one of the tickets?
I'm sorry.
Did anyone on this call buy one of those? I call them lotto
Lotto
tickets to
tickets.
submit an
Yep.
application.
Did
Yeah,
yeah? Did
like
I
the
anybody?
didn't
bear.
even hear nothing about that.
Yep.
Do what?
I didn't even hear anything about that. I would have bought some of those.
Yeah, and the only thing they did good in this hunt, what they seem to do is take the worst part of bear hunting from every state and put it all together in one Florida bear hunt, because there's a lot of hunters that don't like baiting, and the FWC
No.
commission said, yeah, let's have baiting. There's a lot of hunters that don't like dogs, and next year they get to have 6 dogs and 10 people all pursuing and shooting and
Oh,
killing one
we
bear.
got to
um,
stop it. We got to stop
yeah,
it.
horrible
Yes.
it is.
Mm.
But when you said you hadn't heard about it, what, I lost my train of thought.
About the
Maybe.
tickets, buying the tickets
Oh,
for
the tickets,
the
yes.
bear hunt.
The one good thing the FWC did was they made it into a lotto system. Like the first time in 2015, and anyone could buy $100 permit. We had nearly 4,000 people in the woods on one weekend, and they killed over 300 bears in a matter of 24 hours. And
Whoa.
those are just the bears that were reported. So
Sickening.
this time around, and a lot of those were lactating mother bears that had
Of
babies. The
course.
babies were orphaned. So in 2015, what they did in 2025 is they did a lotto system instead of just let it being a free for all and anyone can buy $100 permit. And if you were from out of state, you only paid 300. So we had thousands of people in the woods just killing, killing, killing. What they did last year was approved the lotto system where everyone had to submit an application, and each application was kind of like a lotto ticket, and the 172 people were randomly chosen, and that was a lot better because it kept a controlled amount of people out. We knew everyone who had permission to kill a bear. All of their information was known. And it just worked out a lot better, obviously, because we could
Yeah.
do the bag of tag. And what Bear Warriors did was blunt the hunt when we paid the hunters. The lotto system actually helped save bears, and we were able to save over 2/3 of the bears that were slated for death. So it's a wonderful system. We have a great playbook, and I want to send everybody the introductory letter that I sent to hunters as well as the contract. And I would be happy to have a workshop with people from other states that have bear huntings to show them how they can actually work together with hunters to save bears. And it doesn't get much better than that when you can say that you partnered up with someone that had intended on killing a bear and they didn't. And it just restores our faith in humanity when we have people that will change their mind and do the right thing. And if it takes a few bucks, so be it.
Yeah.
That's right.
I'm going to check in and see how many lottery hunts we have in Colorado. I don't think they do lottery for bear, but I'm
Oh,
pretty sure they do it.
Colorado.
Yeah,
You
I'm pretty sure they do it for the elk.
okay.
It's a lotto. You have to a bunch of people buy and then it's random.
Yeah, that's the best way to do it. I think is the lotto system. Like I said, if you just let any person spend first of all, a bear's life being only worth $100. I mean, that's just sick.
Yeah.
I mean, they reduce this animal to $100, and then they further reduce this animal, a vibrant, sentient being, to a rug that you walk on. I mean, that travesty is so symbolic of the disrespect that these trophy killers give bears, to where they reduce them to something they can walk on,
Yeah.
like gum on the bottom of their shoe.
Or take
And
pictures on or some crap.
yeah, and it's gross. They're not eating them, and like the you said in the chat, people don't have to hunt for food anymore, and this is a fact, and hunters know this. Hunters hunt for pleasure. Hunters hunt because it's their hobby. And it's becoming less and less popular. Less than 1% of the population hunts, and that's a good thing. And those numbers just keep going down because of their own stupidity and their own callousness and their own cruelty and their own braggadocious ignorance that they want to display to the world when they find pleasure in killing an animal.
That's right. We,
Yeah, my brothers are all into hunting and we were raised, low income And we did need to hunt for food. We ate all kinds of wild animals when I was a kid. And my brothers took me squirrel hunting with them one time. And I sat there in the woods and I watched them, and there was no way in hell I could shoot one of those little buggers. They sit up and they look right at me. And I'm like, how the hell can anybody shoot them? So
I know.
we were kind of required to pitch in on the hunting and food gathering, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I just couldn't do it.
No, there's
right.
no way. No way.
No.
No,
And here's something about squirrels. Really, how much meat are you going to get from a little squirrel? I think that's one of the
not
dumbest
a
things.
bunch. Yeah.
Exactly. You get like one bite, it's like frog legs. Like, what's the point? My God. But I was like you. I was raised in a hunting family. My uncle hunted deer, and we had a deer, and we survived off the winter. We were very poor. I would go pick grapefruits off the tree for breakfast, and we would have, you know, deer steaks, venison cube steaks with
Yep.
gravy and rice. But and here's a kicker: I used to when I was little. I would go to my uncle's gun shop, the hunter. His gun shop was in the garage where I lived with my granny, and I would make bullets for him. It's actually called reloading shotgun shells, and it was this big, huge metal
Mhm.
device, and you'd pull
Yep.
down the lever, and I was making these, and I loved it. I loved making these shotgun shells for him. And then one day I turned around and there's a deer hanging upside down and bleeding. He had cut her belly open. And I turn around and I'm like, what are you doing? And he goes, um, he said, this is what we're having for dinner. This is dinner. And I'm like, no. And he said, yeah. And I'm like, no. And he said, this is Bambi. We're eating Bambi for dinner. Now, first
Oh
of all,
no.
why would someone be that callous and hurtful to an 8-year-old little girl who obviously loved animals? And then I started thinking, and I said, are the bullets that I'm making for you used to kill her? And he said, yep. And he started laughing. And I stomped out and I said, I'm never making bullets for you again. I hate you. And he laughed as I stomped out. I never reloaded a shotgun shell. And I think that point in time, that was a life changing moment for me, because it wasn't the fact that he killed the deer and we were going to eat the deer. You know what he could have said? Yes, I had to kill this deer because, we're poor, we don't have a lot of money, and we're hungry. And, I thank this animal for its sacrifice, and I really didn't like doing it, but we need to eat. And that would have been so much different than saying, yeah, we're eating Bambi for dinner and laughing about it. And I
Yeah.
think that's where my whole mindset for the rest of my life came from, was the callousness in his tone and in his words about the joy and like the fun he felt for taking the life of an innocent animal. It's unacceptable, and it's exactly what is making hunting more and more unpopular today.
Right. Yeah, we never spoke anything like that when we hunted. I mean, we had a little thing that we always did. I'm not going to get into it, but we thanked them. We didn't laugh or think it was a joyous occasion to go out and kill a deer, but, we had 7 kids. So.
Exactly. Yeah. There's a way to do it and there's a way not to do it, and that obviously my uncle did it the way that you shouldn't have done it, and he
No.
created an animal rights activist that very night when he
Is he
said, when
still
he
alive?
saw. No, no, he passed away. He got electrocuted, unfortunately, on the job.
Oh,
But he was,
bummer.
Mm.
I'd like to
he was a,
thank him otherwise.
he was a great man. He was my grandmother's son, and he made sure we had food to eat. My my mom dropped us off with my granny, and my granny raised me and my brother, and my uncle was there every single night, made sure we had dinner, and he would play cards with us, crazy eights, and he would take us out in the woods to look for wildlife. So he was a very, very important part of my childhood that made me who I am today. He'd take us out in the woods and show us everything about nature and the trees and the different tracks in the sand. But then he also created an animal rights activist, when he was so callous about the deer hanging upside down. So I have to give a lot of credit to him for, helping us survive and keeping us fed, and then also awakening the mama bear in me that wants to make sure people can't treat an animal like that ever again. So,
That's right. It's only, hey, we have to, we are their voices. We're their only hope to carry on, so for, better lives and futures. And I loved hearing that the amount of hunters is decreasing out there. That was so inspiring and uplifting, so a lot of them are waking up, and we have to
yeah.
educate. And that's the key right there. Know what's going on about bear hunting, what's going on behind the scenes, and they need justice. That's the bottom line. A lot of times I say we are the animals' voices, and we must be heard. With our actions, the animals will seek justice, and that word justice is very strong. The
Yeah.
victories, the good news, positive. There's so much bad news coming on. You look at the news, negative, negative, negative. Bad news. But let's see some more positive news to uplift us, because I can't stand watching too much news because it's so depressing. So we have to turn that around and bring more good news in, positive news. Let's jump to the ceiling, more victories out there for the animals. They so well deserve. They share this off with us temporarily, and they have every right to live here. All this abuse and neglect going on out there, and doing these shows. From voices carried for animals is for all of them. So, and a lot of stuff I didn't know, Katrina, what was going on. So I'm learning, educating myself too, and that's what everybody has to do. Know
Right,
what's
right.
going on. Is it right for them to be treated like that? The answer is no, definitely not.
Mhm.
So
Yeah. We all have to we're here to bear
yeah,
witness.
that's right.
And that's uncomfortable sometimes, and it's unpleasant, and it's depressing, and it's sad, but in the end it helps so much. It helps exponentially, because had these Florida advocates not gotten together in 2015 and 2016 to bear witness, to see the atrocities that the FWC allowed to happen to bears, had we not bared witness to that, we would not have fought as hard, because we would have said, I can't see it. Like, my mom is very much, don't tell me about it, I don't want to know about it, no, I can't handle it. That is what happens when, that's what enables bad stuff to continue to happen. When you bear witness and you stand up to it and you speak out and you take action to stop it, that's everything for an animal, for these innocent beings that have no voice. And so I can't be prouder of the advocates in Florida that have stood up, for the bears, and bought those tickets, and protested with us, and went to Tallahassee and supporting our lawsuit. I think, I just think the Bears are lucky to have the people in Florida fighting so hard for them. And hopefully it's going to end in a victory this August.
Well, I hope so. And keep me informed. I'll keep sharing the stuff out there, because we all got to stick together. And I got a super team going on for a lot of years, and I'm so thankful for them to, multitask, help wherever it needs to be helped. And there's a lot of issues out there, and we can't cover them all, but we try our best, because that's what's the main thing is.
Oh,
Take your
yeah, yeah.
Yep, take your action and take your anger into action. That's the
Yeah,
key. You know, just,
that's right.
just sitting idle and doing nothing, expect no changes. And that's what we're here for. That's what we're working together for. We want to see changes
Yeah,
made, not to stay the same, idle, or get swept under the carpet. We are the animals' only t- voices out there, and to action takers to see that they get better lives and futures. They so well deserve, and I see so much cruelty going on out there, through all these news feeds, with these animals being tortured, and it's disgusting, so what we got to do is speak louder and coming together. Strict the numbers, Mama Cat. That's what it takes, and that's for sure.
Yep,
Yep,
exactly. But we're
power in
doing a good
numbers.
job. We're making headway. We're doing a good job. People should have a lot of hope and a lot of positive feelings about this because we are making headway. And like I said, if we can save the majority of bears, you know, 120 out of 172 we managed to save.
Yes,
That is a huge deal.
yes.
We can do it again. We can do it in every state. um, it's relatively easy to do, and we need to make this a trend, and we need to make that the norm, is that bear advocates save the bears and the wolves. I mean, just don't even get me started on wolf hunting.
Mm,
um, but we have a great playbook. We want every state to do it. And feel free to reach out to me anytime at Bear Warriors United at gmail.com. And I will send you the contract I had with the hunters. I'll send you the introductory letter. And we also have bear strap programs. So we have a really good playbook, I call it, of saving bears and peacefully and responsibly coexisting with our wildlife in Florida, and even working with hunters to save what's left of Florida's wildlife.
yes. Educate them, let them open their ears and open their eyes to all this cruelty going on. It's unjustifiable, injustice, cruel, heartless. Let them live in their lives and live in comfort and peace, live in their families, away from, free from fear and anxiety. They don't need to live like that. We don't want like to live in fear and anxiety. We take our safety precautions, lock doors, alarms, this, that, and we have to stand up for them and speak out for them. So everyone, please let your voice be heard and take that action. You want to come follow me on Facebook or make friends with me or Voices Carry for Animals podcast page. I use all my social media for advocacy. Okay, there's hard nothing personal now because I want to be a positive impact in this world, not a negative one, and we can't expect changes overnight. But if we keep trying, we want to see a bit more victories come through because that's where it's at. Then the mama bear could do the victory dance, and keep going. It doesn't stop there. But
Yes, that's
anyway,
right.
yes, yep. So, and when you're following, thank you, Lisa. Yeah, please share it. I'm going to be sharing some more stuff on there because I do, random when I go to Bear Warriors United Facebook page and see how you can help out because it means so much. Whatever you can do, every effort counts. And phone calls counts, emails, letters, petitions. They all matter. How it can't get no easier than and making changes in the comfort of your home, your phone, your computer or laptop, copier, fax. It's all right there. It can't get no easier. I can't think of one. You know, like I have on this iPad. I go out on the patio when it's nice out. I won't be probably out there in June, July when it's hot. But it can't get no easier than that, and you can listen in worldwide. How's that? How can it get any
Great.
easier for me? So, I mean, right now the weather's nice, but once I come back in, because it's going to be too hot out there, the humidity is going to be bad. But everybody can do something. Your voices matter. Your votes matter. Get out there and vote. Because I see statistic that says one out of every uh, American out there, 1 out of 4 unregistered voters. That's not good, right? No,
Yikes.
get out there and vote. And because I
Yes.
looked into it, and your vote matters, okay? And 1 out of 4, whoa, that's not good. That's not, that's not uplifting. That we got some issues there. I don't know why they're not voting, but they need to vote because we all, I know, I vote, and Mama Cat, you probably already listen to us, but there's ones out there that don't, and your vote matters. That's
And
You
it's
gotta
one of the
vote.
things that can save animals the most. If we
yes,
get good people in office, they do all of this when we don't have to file lawsuits, we don't have to protest when we get good people in office. And the candidates that we're supporting, it's all spectrum. It's Republican, Democrat, Independent, NPA. We're not no party affiliation or we don't side with one party or
That's the
another.
way to do it.
We know
Yep.
that, yeah, party, it's principles over
That's
party.
right.
And we vote on issues, and we vote on people's past record. We let actions speak louder than words. We don't fall for the BS with some guys up there. I've done this, and I'm going to do this for water, and I'm going to do this for the bears. No, we look at his previous record, and we can see exactly what he's done. And like I said, this is nonpartisan. We support people of all parties, and that's what makes it so great, because it's everyone coming together. And let me tell you something. There's people in every party. Something we all agree on is animals and our environment. Like, there are just, that brings us together. All the other political issues fall to the wayside when we can all work together
Yep.
on those issues, and it's something that we all find common ground on.
That's right.
Everybody wants clean water, everybody wants forests,
Yes.
and nobody likes animal cruelty.
No.
Nobody. The only people who like animal cruelty are the ones committing it. And there's exponentially more people who love animals and love
That's
wildlife,
right.
and love a clean environment. So we're excited this year to make a difference, especially in Florida, with getting good candidates in office, and giving the animals a better and
That's right. And best of luck to you, Katrina, because we, the people of the United States, there's no breaking it down. There's not red people, blue people. It's all of us put together, and we all have to do what's right. We're not going to break it
right.
down.
The
And so,
Yes, the
what?
animals are what bring us together.
That's
It's
right.
all about the animals.
That's right. You said it. And whatever, you look at it and you go to the roots of the problem, and don't let anybody force you to believe in another way or this way. Go on your own, do your own homework and figure it out.
That's right.
D-
Exactly.
don't let anybody
Exactly.
force you because you're getting bullied for believing what you believe in. Don't do that, because we all have our own freedom of speech and how we feel, freedom of religion, everything. So don't let nobody talk you into something that you don't want to get involved in or get engaged with, and vote the wrong way because somebody forced you, bullied you to. No, that's not right. So, but anyway, Katrina, I'm going to be closing down the show, and I
All right.
can't thank you enough for coming back on. And I want to get a hold of you on this new podcast, okay? Probably
Great.
sometime in July, have you come back on, okay?
Sounds
And
good.
I love that too, and I'm looking forward to this new podcast. I will miss Podbean, been on just over a year, but I got another doors opening, so going to make it better and stronger yet, so, but
That's
I'm gonna
right.
welcome you back anytime, again and again and again, because the more you come back on, the more exposure, and it doesn't fizzle out and go away. Keep it in the spotlight, right? That's what the
Right.
main
Right.
thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we'll
and
definitely do another show right before we go into court to,
yes,
get people to join us in Tallahassee.
yes, yes, definitely. So I'll keep you informed on what's going on, and I can't thank, and a big shout out to Bear Warriors United, all the staff, the volunteers, Katrina, all of you doing outstanding work out there. Keep it up. You're being very strong warriors, okay? And that's a
Yeah,
strong word. Warriors, yes, I love that word,
that's right.
warriors. Don't you? I mean, it's like, wow. Here
Oh,
we
yeah.
go. Yes, Bear Warriors United. Give them a big hand. Yes.
I
Okay,
love
Mama
that
Cat.
button. I love that button. You need to do that one more often.
Hey, they got a boo on here too. We'll give this out. We'll give this sound out to the trophy bear hunters, right? Here we go. Boo,
That's right.
boo,
Boo is
right?
right.
Yep. So, and we'll give you the standing ovation. All of your staff, volunteers, all of you. Well, great job.
Thank you.
Keep it
Yeah.
up.
Oh,
And
Great
okay.
job, y'all
Hey,
too. Thank you, everyone on the call, for your love of animals and being a
yes,
voice for
yeah,
animals.
thank you,
Yes.
Mama Cat and Lisa for coming on live. And hope you keep following me. And Phaedra, she was in there. I mean, all of you. And you're getting some thank you, Katrina. This has been another outstanding show because he was on there last year. And I said, hey, I want to keep bringing her back on. And you was there. I mean, this is another great show. All the amazing guests and the callers and the listeners out there. I can't thank all of you enough for making Voices Care for Animals podcast a total success. So, and I wanted to tell you, Katrina, this morning I got an email from Born Free USA. I'm going to be
Okay.
scheduling. They heard about me. I meant to find out because I was like, how'd they find out about me? But that's great. And I said, as soon as
Wonderful.
this podcast comes on, the new one, I will get you set up because I talked to the media manager. So here's another
Oh,
one
very
for.
good. I
Isn't
love
that
Born
great?
Free.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. So
yeah.
they'll be coming on. As soon as I get this set up and scheduling, they'll be coming on. But that inspired me too. Just want to. I don't have a problem getting guests, and I'm so blessed and thankful for that because the show's been going on almost 12 years in June, at the end of June.
Wow.
So, and
Congratulations.
yeah, I'm gonna keep going too. The mama bear is on a roll, and mama cat, hey, you can't catch the mama bear. I'm on a roll. You're lucky if you can, because
Okay.
once I get rolling there, and I'm fast on the computer and stuff, so I pull up 4 tabs. I'm copying and pasting and getting this show out, and all of the thank yous to everyone that's helping me promote this show. I mean, from X big animal pages to followers to Facebook friends and followers that's getting involved, and also on LinkedIn. I mean, this list is huge, and it would take me hours to give everybody's name because I got them written in a tablet and I tag, tag, tag. So it's awesome. But next week, everyone, please join us. We got okay, Mama K, we got a newbie coming in, and
Oh,
yeah, Stephanie Steffen, and she's author of a new book called The Path to Unconditional Love, and I want to welcome her aboard. Okay, so 7 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Central, 5 o'clock Mountain, and 4 o'clock Pacific. Okay, listening
amazing.
worldwide. So, going to welcome her aboard. Have another great show, and all of you have a wonderful Easter. And I wanted to. This is going to do a 360, but recently I donated blood to oneblood.org, and they are dire need for blood donors. Okay, and they told me after it was an office and everything, and I said, we got to help save lives out there, make somebody's lives better. Because you got to think of the ones in the accidents that lose a lot of blood, and the chemo for platelets and stuff like that. So I told them I'll be a regular donor, and it's healthy, and you're helping saving lives out there, the ones that need blood transfusions and stuff like that. So I said I'll get on air and try to get help because they're in dire need of it. So I'm going to be a regular donor, and they give out promotions with gift cards and stuff. So because when I went back, I haven't been in like a year and a half, and they would give me it was $20 gift card and then $30 challenge gift cards. So I got $50 for one time gift cards. And thanks you, Lisa. You're organ donor too. This is a blood donor. So go and donate some blood, and you'll have a questionnaire which everybody has to do, and it's to make sure that you can give the blood and everything. But once you get in, you're in, and it's on the app and also on the website. I got it hooked up on my both places. You can make appointments from the app and the website. It's awesome, and it gives you, when you donated, and then what your blood pressure was or pulse. It's awesome. So let's help save lives, everyone. You never know when you're going to need blood, right? And we have no clue what the future brings. So put a little love in your heart and do your part and help the other ones out, help making their lives better and giving them some hope. because they deserve it. All of us humans, we need to help each other out. Humanity, generosity, and more and kindness and respect in this world instead of what's going on. United we stand, not united we fall. Let's do what's right. We the people of the United States of America. No breaking it down, okay? Doesn't work for race, color, nothing. It's all of us doing what's right. What's right for the
And
animals.
just so you know,
Yep.
Dave,
I'm sorry.
I thank you for your blood donation because I'm a recipient and I get blood when I go and have my treatment for
Oh,
my blood
yes,
cancer.
that's right. Yes. And
Yeah.
prayers to you, yeah, Mama Cat. And I'm thinking about you. I'm thinking about all of it. Hey, it's there to do. I mean, you benefit. It's healthy. Your blood replenishes, and then also you're helping saving lives and chemo right there, bam, and also accidents when people lose a lot of blood, all the blood transfusions. So you're so very welcome. And Cambria came into the room, and we're getting to close down. I hope you join us next, Cambria, next week and everything. So glad to see you in here. This is wonderful. But I'm getting ready to shut it down. And thank you again so much, Katrina. And I'll be in contact with you, sharing your stuff and signing a petition and sharing that because I am fast on sharing this stuff. I've been doing it for years, and I want to
Wonderful. Thank
continue.
you. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, you're doing a great job, and thank you for having me on. I will fill in anytime for Adam that you need me to.
Okay, or any other one. How's that?
Yes, there
My,
we go.
yeah, but I'm gonna close down because it's getting ready to close it down. Okay, but thank you, everyone.
Yeah,
Good
thank you,
evening. Hope
everyone.
everyone has a wonderful and blessed Easter. And the Easter Funny Bunny's coming, so don't eat too much candy. Okay. Easter Funny Bunny. Okay, Mama Cat, you ready?
I'm
Go ahead.
paw in hand, united we stand against all animal neglect and cruelty across the land. Good night, everybody. Happy Easter. Love
And love
Good
ya.
night.
it. And may God bless you all,
See you
okay?
next
And
week.
thank you all for tuning in and hope you tune in next week. And all you former guests can join us anytime on this app, this Podbean Podcast app, okay? But thank you all so much. So you're so inspired and keep me going. Good night.
Good
Bye,
night.
Mama
Good
Cat.
night.
Thanks, Lisa. With our voices, the animals will be heard. With our actions, the animals will seek justice. Good night, everyone, and have a peaceful evening. Bye bye.